So we hear like yelling, we see the dancer going back and forth. So Paris comes over, hears it, and then boom, busts the glasses, everything. We see like a whole sea of people. Can you imagine? Hammer got 30 on stage anyway.
Yeah, that's what he was known for, yeah.
And we're like, oh, and one of the guys was like, yo, I want him, the chubby one. So I'm like, God damn, I'm like, oh, like.
And he used to, anybody who talks come to the Bay Area, they was in for it. Cause we seen it. I seen it.
MC Hammer is not somebody to take lightly, and his opponents will tell you the same thing if you ask around. People love to crack jokes now, but back then, nobody who really knew the scene played with Hammer like that. In the 1990s, MC Hammer wasn't just popular, he was unavoidable. His hip-hop and dance records were everywhere, blasting non-stop, paired with those legendary parachute pants and smooth, polished moves like the typewriter. He didn't just perform, he dominated the moment and turned every stage into his own world.
You know, it's entertainment. So he tried to let me know. We sat down, he was like, yo, don't get it. Yeah. You know, I'm a real gangster from Oakland. I was like, yo, Hammer, you ain't got to do this to me.
Let me talk to you for a minute. Hammer said, what's up, man? I said, man, I apologize for the thing. I didn't know, the people you knew or whatever, this and that. And I apologize for what I did, brother. It's all good. We cool. We good. And Hammer's like, yeah, it's all right. Mm-hmm.
And of course, everybody remembers the catchphrase, Hammer Time. That line lived in schools, clubs, commercials, and TV shows. Hammer stacked awards, broke barriers, and helped push pop rap into the mainstream by blending radio-ready hooks with real hip-hop energy.
It's this dude in his wheelchair and about 4 or 5 dudes with him, hanging out. I know they Crips because my cousins are all Crips in LA. So I'm like, that's some gangbangers. Doing out here.
He even made history as the first hip-hop artist to ever go diamond, something people forget way too easily. What most fans never saw was the other side of MC Hammer. This wasn't the smiling, family-friendly version on TV. This side stayed quiet and out of sight, only coming out when he felt pushed. And when it surfaced, it made people uncomfortable. Even the Crips, known for their reputation and influence, reportedly had to apologize after testing him, which says a lot by itself. Fast forward to 2022, and Hammer suddenly started trending on X, formerly Twitter, after an old photo resurfaced. The image came from the 1996 Grammys and showed Suge Knight, Snoop Dogg, Tupac, and Hammer all dressed sharp in full 90s style. Hammer stood slightly off to the side with his hands behind his back, smiling calmly, while everyone else looked serious and locked in. Someone tweeted, I don't think I've ever seen anyone more out of place than Hammer was in this photo, LOL, but the internet did not agree with that take.
Protection. I'm saying, protection for what? See, man, I got 12 bodyguards out there, and 4 or 5 of them straight killers. You know what I'm saying? So, what you talking about? You know what I'm saying? I don't need no protection. Holler at me, man. If you don't, something could happen to you, whatever. He said, what you trying to say? He said, you go ahead and, take care of that and everything will be cool. He said, you trying to start strangle on me, nigga?
Fans immediately rushed in to defend the Oakland legend. They made it clear that flashy pants, pop hits, and a clean image didn't mean Hammer was soft. That moment exposed the huge gap between what casual fans assume and what people inside hip-hop already know. Yes, Hammer sold sneakers and did Taco Bell commercials. But behind the scenes, stories about his street awareness had been circulating for years. Especially in the East Bay and deeper hip-hop circles, people understood there was more to him than the TV version. For anyone still confused, it helps to rewind. MC Hammer's longtime vocalist, Benito, once spoke about a tense moment involving the Crips. He even mentioned Michael Concepcion, one of the original founders of the LA Crips, when breaking down how that situation unfolded. That's when people realized this image wasn't accidental, it was controlled. Michael had lost his legs in a gang-related shooting back in 1977, leaving him in a wheelchair. According to Benito, after one event, the crew was heading back to their hotel when they spotted Michael posted up, surrounded by several Crips.
And our people looking like, yeah, I'm waiting for you to move. Hammer, hey, what's up? He said, hey, man, it's like this. I'll make one phone call, and all this will go away. Man, let me talk to you for a minute. Hammer said, what's up, man? He said, man, I apologize for the thing. I didn't know, the people you knew or whatever, this and that. And I apologize for what I did, brother. It's all good. We cool. We good. And Hammer's like, yeah, it's all right.
The energy felt wrong immediately, like something was about to pop off. When Michael called MC Hammer over, the situation shifted fast. Michael told Hammer that since they were in Los Angeles, anything could happen, and suggested Hammer hire him for protection. The message wasn't friendly. It sounded more like pressure than an offer. Hammer looked confused and asked why he would need protection when he already had 12 bodyguards who were solid and experienced. He made it clear he didn't need outside help. Michael didn't let it go. He kept pushing, hinting that if Hammer didn't play along, something might go left and he should stay alert. That's when Hammer finally snapped out of calm mode. Things got tense quick, and his bodyguards were ready to move, but Hammer checked them before it went any further. Instead of letting it spiral, he told Michael that all it would take was one phone call for the whole situation to disappear. By the next morning, Michael came back and apologized directly to Hammer. No threats, no posturing, just an apology. Word was, Hammer's connections ran deeper and heavier than anything Michael and his crew were prepared to deal with. After that moment, there were no more problems between Hammer, Michael, or the Crips. The situation went quiet, and it stayed that way. Stories like this started changing how people viewed Hammer behind the scenes. When the MC Search situation popped up later, rumors started flying that Hammer had gang ties, but Hammer never claimed any affiliation and never needed to. Another rapper who learned not to test Hammer was Redman. On his 1992 album, What the Album, Redman took a shot at Hammer during the Funky Uncles interlude, throwing disrespect his way and dragging his family into it. Years later, Redman admitted that didn't go over well. He said Hammer's people chased them out of Oakland and that the situation felt serious and real. In a 2016 interview with Vlad TV, Redman said they barely made it out without things going bad. Then, in 1995, both artists crossed paths on the final episode of Yo MTV Raps. Hammer reportedly pulled Redman aside and told him straight that he could handle disrespect toward himself, but bringing his mother into it crossed the line. The message landed, and the issue ended there. Redman's response said everything. When Hammer checked him, Redman didn't argue or play tough. His answer was simple and respectful. Yes, sir. Later on, Redman broke it down even clearer. He said he got the message loud and clear. He had heard the stories about Hammer and seen how things moved out west. He knew he still needed to come to the West Coast to work and make money, especially in the Bay Area, a place he genuinely liked. So he chose peace. He admitted straight up that he would never speak on Hammer's mother again. Lesson learned. Redman openly admitted that MC Hammer was not somebody to take lightly when it came to real-life issues. People online loved to laugh and joke about Hammer. But the reality was very different in the Bay. Anyone who talked reckless and then showed up in that area quickly found out. This wasn't rumor talk. This was firsthand knowledge from people who were really there and saw how things played out. In a 2018 interview, Too Short spoke openly about his respect for Hammer. They came up around the same time, and according to Short, Hammer was already considered a big dog early on. He said Hammer had real respect in the streets and came from a respected crew that handled business properly. He also mentioned Hammer's brother Louis and made it clear that the circle around Hammer wasn't for show. When asked about the rumor that Hammer allegedly put a price on MC Search, Too Short didn't buy the numbers people were throwing around. He said the money part didn't make sense. According to him, Hammer didn't need to pay anyone. If he wanted something handled, he could have just made a call and people would have stepped up off respect alone. Short made it clear he knew exactly who Hammer was connected with. In a 2020 conversation involving E40, Fat Joe recalled running into Hammer at the Las Vegas airport. Hammer greeted him warmly but still made his presence clear. Joe said Hammer let it be known that he could really make things happen if needed. E40 wasn't surprised at all. He explained that Hammer was from Oakland, highly respected, deeply connected, and known by all the key players. According to E40, Hammer was far from soft, stayed in shape, and could handle situations himself if it came to that. And if you think those were his only run-ins, that's where the story keeps going. Hammer didn't just bump heads with rappers. He went straight at one of the biggest moguls in music, Jay-Z. At the height of the tension, MC Hammer released a diss track aimed directly at Jay, complete with a wild visual that caught everyone off guard. The video showed a Jay-Z lookalike being chased through the woods by a devil-like figure, turning the whole thing into something symbolic and unsettling. By the lake, Hammer confronts the character, throws out warnings, and then flips the scene by symbolically baptizing him after Satan is pushed away. At first, people assumed the beef started because of a line Jay-Z delivered on a Kanye West track that referenced Hammer's well-known financial problems from the mid-90s. That explanation sounded easy, but Hammer later said that wasn't the real issue. According to him, the real problem was Jay-Z's use of Christian imagery in his music and visuals. Hammer, who is an ordained minister, felt that certain themes crossed the line. He specifically pointed to tracks like On to the Next One and Empire State of Mind, saying they clashed with his religious beliefs. Jay-Z later responded by saying he didn't realize Hammer's money issues were considered off limits and added that he actually respected Hammer. He even mentioned that respect in his book, which softened things publicly, even if the tension never fully disappeared. Hammer, however, felt he came out on top. He said the diss video opened people's eyes and showed how Jay's lyrics were being interpreted as shots at Hammer's faith. Public opinion leaned surprisingly positive toward Hammer after that. Fans started revisiting old interviews where artists like Redman and Treach described Hammer as intimidating in real life, not just a pop figure. People began admitting they thought Hammer was a joke until they really looked deeper. He was a diamond-selling artist who went broke, partly because he financially helped people others wouldn't touch. There were even long-standing rumors claiming Hammer's circle was involved in the infamous story about Vanilla Ice, a tale that hip-hop fans still argue about today. A lot of outsiders miss how closely music and the street world used to overlap. Hammer never glorified violence, but stories followed him anyway. Some even pointed to his family's rumored connections during the era of Felix Mitchell, a powerful figure whose influence stretched far beyond Oakland. Hammer stayed clean in his image, but the respect around him didn't come from nowhere. Hammer and his brother were closely connected to some of the most influential street figures in Oakland, which made them deeply rooted and well-respected in their community. Long before the fame, Hammer grew up tied to the High Street Bank Boys, a crew known throughout East Oakland. Their area ran down High Street, a place filled with boarded-up storefronts and shaped by crime, constant tension, gang clashes, shootings, and loss. By the time Hammer finally broke through in the late 1980s, he had already seen more than most artists ever would. When success came, Hammer didn't leave his people behind. He brought his entire neighborhood with him. As the money started flowing, he saw the reality his friends were still living in. Some were hustling, some caught in violent turf battles, and others struggling with addiction. Hammer didn't look away from it. He decided to intervene the only way he knew how. He put his neighborhood on payroll. People were reportedly earning anywhere from $40,000 to $50,000 a year. What started as loyalty turned into something bigger, almost like an unofficial work and reform system. Hammer moved everywhere with a massive entourage, sometimes over 100 people deep. That group included childhood friends, relatives, dancers, and people with serious street reputations. The crew started with his High Street circle, but kept expanding. Soon it included people from San Francisco, Detroit, Louisiana, New York, and different parts of the South. Hammer believed that if he had a platform, he had a responsibility to use it. But as his profile grew, so did the criticism. A lot of rappers misjudged him. They saw the flashy pants, the dancing, the upbeat records, and assumed he was soft. That assumption didn't age well. Hammer had a reputation to protect, and disrespect didn't slide. He grew up fighting and boxing in East Oakland, and that same intensity carried over into how he handled real-life conflict. If an artist dissed MC Hammer and then had a tour stop in Oakland during the late 80s or early 90s, it wasn't taken lightly. One of the most talked about situations involved LL Cool J. LL took a shot at Hammer on his 1990 track, To the Break of Dawn. That same year, when LL performed in Oakland, Hammer's crew reportedly paid him a backstage visit, and rumors spread that things turned physical. The following day, word was that Hammer's people followed LL to the airport. Eventually, both sides moved on and settled the situation, but the message had already been sent. The tension didn't stop there. In 1989, after Hammer dissed Run DMC, the group Third Bass fired back with a record that crossed a serious line by mentioning Hammer's mother. It was a direct play on album titles and song names, but in the real world, that kind of talk was never taken as just lyrics. Hammer took it as a direct shot at his mother, not just a rap line. At the time, Third Bass was out on a press run promoting their album, Moving Around California. Before they even touched down in Los Angeles, word started spreading that Hammer's brother had reached out to the president of Def Jam, warning that things could turn dangerous if the group stayed in the state. MC Search later claimed there was a $50,000 hit placed on him, something he said was backed up by fellow Def Jam artist Eric B. According to the story, the threat was supposed to be carried out by the Rolling 60s Crips, one of the most powerful street groups in Los Angeles at the time. The situation reportedly got serious enough that Russell Simmons stepped in personally to protect his artists. He allegedly assigned a known street figure, Pookie, to stay close to Search and the rest of Third Base during their time in California to keep things from going left. The very next day, Search decided to take his girlfriend shopping at Louis Vuitton inside the Beverly Center. Pookie approved the move and went with them. As they stepped off the escalator, Search started signing autographs, feeling comfortable for a moment. Then he noticed several men approaching, and the mood shifted instantly. Before anything could happen, Pookie stepped in and shut it down, keeping Search safe. But the tension didn't stop there. During a radio station appearance the following day, Search went on air and publicly called out MC Hammer, insulting him and challenging him to meet face-to-face. Shortly after, a call came into the station from someone claiming to be connected to the Rolling 60s, threatening Search and the group. Security moved fast. The station was evacuated, and as they drove away, Search later said they were followed by a car full of men allegedly pointing weapons at them for much of their stay in California. According to Search, the group had to disguise themselves just to move around safely. Even decades later, he has said the incident left a lasting impact on him. Hammer, however, dismissed the entire story about a paid hit as exaggerated and unrealistic. Then, in 1992, Ice Cube released the single True to the Game, a song aimed at artists accused of selling out to mainstream audiences. Many listeners believe the track was a clear shot at Hammer. The video showed a rapper transforming from streetwear into a flashy red outfit, symbolizing a move toward pop success. Hammer didn't see it as harmless commentary. One afternoon, while spending time at the Sheraton Universal Hotel in Los Angeles, the tension around his name was far from fading. Hammer got word that Ice Cube was eating at Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles in Hollywood. Instead of rushing in blind, Hammer told the caller to stall Cube. Then he pulled his crew together and moved fast. They flew down the 101 freeway, cutting what should have been a 10-minute drive in half. When they pulled up outside Roscoe's, Hammer and his people posted up and waited. As soon as Ice Cube walked out, Hammer stepped to him directly. He confronted him about the music video and made it clear he didn't appreciate how he was portrayed. In the video, the character meant to resemble Hammer was duct taped, tied up, and thrown into a trunk. Hammer saw that as pure disrespect. Ice Cube tried to calm things down, saying it wasn't meant to be taken that way. Hammer wasn't interested in excuses. He told Cube straight that it better never happen again. Cube immediately understood the seriousness of the moment and promised it wouldn't. Not long after, Ice Cube even wrote a formal apology to Hammer in The Source magazine, shutting the situation down publicly. Hammer knew the streets, but sometimes danger still showed up uninvited. On June 23, 1992, Hammer was in Albuquerque, New Mexico for a charity softball game. Afterward, there was a barbecue at Roosevelt Park for local kids and firefighters. What started as a positive community event turned dark when a man drove by and threatened to open fire on everyone there. Before Hammer could get people fully cleared out, the man came back and started shooting from his car. 4 people were hit. 3 were from Hammer's crew. 1 man was shot in the face. Another took a bullet to the neck. A third suffered a graze wound to the leg. The incident shook everyone involved and showed how quickly things could spiral. By the mid-1990s, Hammer's career shifted again when he signed with Death Row Records. In 1995, he completed an album with the label, but it was never released. After Tupac Shakur died in 1996, Hammer quietly parted ways with Death Row. Not many artists managed to leave that situation clean, but Hammer did, which spoke volumes about how he was viewed. Despite his real-world reputation, Hammer never glorified street life in his music. He stayed focused on being a positive influence, especially for kids. As a pioneer of pop rap, MC Hammer helped shape music, fashion, slang, and mainstream culture itself. The success came with pressure, danger, and controversy, and the road was never as easy as it looked. In 1996, MC Hammer hit a hard financial wall. Years of massive spending finally caught up with him, and he filed for bankruptcy. According to reports cited by SF Gate, Hammer was more than $10 million in debt while holding roughly $1 million in assets. It was a dramatic fall that the media ran with, but Hammer never looked at it as a mistake. People often asked him if he would go back and change anything. Hammer addressed that question directly in an Oprah.com profile and said his answer usually shocked people. He explained that he wouldn't change a single thing. He believed strongly in the butterfly effect, the idea that changing one moment would alter everything that followed. He said that changing the past would mean losing the family he has now, the relationships he built, and the peace he found later in life. For him, the outcome mattered more than the losses. While many people still reduce his legacy to chart-topping hits and financial trouble, that's only one chapter of the story. Today, Hammer is a father of 5, a faith leader, and a serious entrepreneur. Long before tech investing became trendy for artists, Hammer was already paying attention. Back in the 1990s, while working on music videos, he became fascinated by the idea of sharing video content online. The technology wasn't ready yet, but the vision stayed with him. He later explained that he stuck with that idea from 1994 all the way until YouTube became a reality. He recalled being around when YouTube was still operating out of offices above a pizza shop with only a handful of computers. That early belief turned into real opportunity and launched Hammer into a successful second career in tech investing. Today, Hammer is deeply involved with companies that blend technology, music, and marketing, particularly in Silicon Valley. His investment portfolio includes early involvement with companies like Bump Technologies, Square, and Twitter back when it was still in its early stages. On a daily basis, Hammer has said he stays loosely involved with around 8 tech companies, working long hours through advising, consulting, and investing. One of his most talked about moves was his investment in Twitter. According to Afrotech, Chamillionaire revealed during a 2020 tech conference that Hammer owned a stake in the platform. A 2011 Billboard report also highlighted Hammer's involvement in roughly a dozen startups, including Bump and Square. The chapter people rarely talk about is the one where Hammer rebuilt everything quietly and on his own terms. Hammer's move into tech and business has earned him a different kind of respect, especially back home in Oakland. He's seen as an OG whose wins and losses both carry lessons. When it comes to digital music and tech investing in the Bay Area, Hammer has made it clear he's easy to reach. He once said that anyone in the Valley working on the digital side of music knows how to contact him, adding that it's a small community and he's usually just a text away. As a co-founder of Dance Jam, MC Hammer is extremely selective about where his money goes now. His investment style is deliberate, not impulsive. Every move is thought out, focused on long-term impact rather than quick wins. It's another reminder that his business instincts never disappeared, they just evolved. In 2023, during a ceremony in Oakland to rename a street after Tupac Shakur, Hammer explained why he largely stayed away from hip-hop's 50th anniversary celebrations. He said today's hip-hop scene often feels insincere to him, and he has no patience for anything fake. The Tupac street naming was the only cultural event he chose to attend that year, and that decision spoke volumes. Earlier that same year, social media went into full panic mode when the hashtag #RIP Hammer started trending. Fans rushed to conclusions, thinking one of music's biggest icons had passed. The confusion spread fast before people stopped to check the facts. The truth was very different. Hammer was alive and well. The hashtag had nothing to do with him at all. It was actually referencing UFC legend Mark Coleman and his dog named Hammer. Coleman had heroically saved his parents from a house fire, but sadly, the dog didn't survive. As the story spread, the hashtag took off and accidentally sparked chaos. One fan summed it up perfectly, saying people need to be way more specific with hashtags because seeing that trend made it feel like the world almost lost one of music's greats. Now it's your turn. What do you really think about MC Hammer? Drop your thoughts in the comments, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, share it with others, and we'll see you on the next one.